Even someone as spiritually strong as John the Baptist could have serious doubts. So if you're here this morning and you have your doubts, great, you're in a good place. That's why we have question and answer. That's why we handle skeptics' questions, and we don't discourage that. John the Baptist could go through that. You and I could go through that. So let me give you some help here. What to do when you begin to doubt your faith. Number one, let me encourage you to get godly advice. Don't withdraw. Don't just try to figure this out all by yourself. The Bible says that where there is no guidance, a people falls. But in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. Think of some people you know that are genuinely godly, not like the hypocrites you've seen, but people you think, wow, I really respect them. Get their advice and get some counsel on this before you just deconstruct and walk away from the Lord. Number two, get into the Word. It says that in Romans 10:17 that faith, and that's what you're struggling with, do I have enough faith? Where do you get faith? Faith comes from hearing, and hearing what? Through the Word of Christ. The Bible is not just another book. It's not like an encyclopedia or Wikipedia or any novel or fiction or whatever. It is a supernatural book that the more you take it in, the more it builds up faith inside of you. I challenge anyone who is questioning Christianity to just read the Gospel of John. For 30 days, just read as much as you can every day and pray and ask God to open your mind and open your heart. And I promise you that you have that prayer answered. Faith, if your faith is struggling, get into the Word, read the Bible, and let it build faith in you. Number three, go to church. It's just that simple. A lot of people get discouraged and they stop going to church. I would encourage you to go to church. In fact, if a church that you were attending, even if it's this one, you're disappointed, you feel like, oh, it's let me down, look at why. And if you feel like you have legitimate reasons, do like John the Baptist. Should we look for another? Okay, go. I'm not the monopoly on truth here, obviously. You know that. I'm an imperfect man just like all of us. Find a good Bible-believing church. But if you're looking for the perfect church, you're going to be disappointed, okay? To stop going to church because people aren't perfect, it's like stop going to the gym because people are out of shape. We go to the gym to get in shape. We go to church to become better people. And Psalm 73, David was discouraged. David was the apple of God's eye. He had a heart for God. He wrote most of the Psalms. He wrote beautiful songs about God, and yet he struggled. And here's what he said to himself. He said in Psalm 73, all in vain I have kept my heart clean. I mean, what a waste of time. I'm trying to live a good life, live a clean life. Everybody else is out there to sinning, and they seem like they're having a better life than I am. I've done this all for nothing. He said, and it seemed like a wearisome task. But then he says in verse 17, all that seemed vain and wearisome until I went into the sanctuary of God. Then I discerned their end. That yeah, they may have in their best life now, partying it up, and I may seem like I'm deprived, but I know what happens to them in the end. I know what happens to me in the end. And that's what we have to look forward to is the future. And where do we get that kind of information? When we go to the house of God. Then we realize that we're not living for the here and now only. We're living for the future. We're living for what's best and for eternity and for Christ. Number four, I would tell you to doubt your doubts. Dr. Timothy Keller says this, it's okay to honestly doubt your faith, but you also need to doubt your doubts. Well, what do you mean by that? What does he mean by that? Ask yourself why you're questioning. Let me say it this way. Is there a selfish motive for me to have doubts? When do most people doubt Christianity? It's when they go off to college. So they grow up in church maybe, they learn the Bible lessons, they go to church with mom and dad, they hear all these things, then they go to college and some professor tells them the Bible's full of contradictions. The Bible's, imperialistic, colonialistic, and oppressive. And the Bible's all this, and they make up all these things that are not true. And then you're in college, and man, there's girls everywhere, and there's parties happening, and there's all kinds of wild living going on. But my mom and dad told me that's not right. And they told me don't do that because the Bible says that's wrong. But man, I really want to do this. And my professor says it's okay. It's convenient. I don't believe the Bible anymore. Let's party, hardy, let's go. And that's what a lot of people, not everybody. Some people have some honest doubts, but some people doubt their faith because it is no longer convenient. I don't want to have to live in this box. I don't want to have to live by these rules and whatever. And so is there a possible selfish motive to doubting your doubts? Maybe it'll be convenient time in your life not to be Christian.